And we're recording. I think. Now we are. Yeah. Okay.
All right, buddies! Welcome to the F.A.T podcast, CoronaCast, Volume 3. Am
4.
I right? 4.
All it took was a global pandemic for us to actually get a weekly schedule again.
That's right. Because now we have nowhere to go.
I want to start by saying this. Bub's outstanding. And just to show that great minds think alike, I too was thinking about rocking a bandana. But man. I was just like, I don't know.
Well, tomorrow is a very special holiday because tomorrow is May 3rd and it is Bullet Club Day. So I'm in costume. I'm in my favorite Bullet Club member, Sex Ferguson, baby. One of the good brothers. So here we go. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm actually going to take it off because it's really hot. So
it's fucking hot now.
Outstanding. It's either, if it wasn't Bullet Club Day, then I would say you were getting ready for a Wheeler Walker Jr. concert, man.
That's right.
You look fabulous.
Suntan biker man.
Both great things, you know.
Woo.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? How you boys doing? How's everything going?
I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much the same as I was last week.
Stuck in the house like everybody else?
Yeah, I went out grocery shopping the other day, but...
Ooh, how did that go?
Fine. It wasn't overly crowded, so...
Right. That's good.
Yeah. They actually had those cheap-ass grocery bags that you're not supposed to give away anymore. I guess Food for Less was running out, so they found like a stock of those in the back, and they were giving them away. I'm like, you're going to get fined.
Well, no, Albertsons, they're doing the same way. We went grocery shopping a couple days ago just to pick up a few things, and they also have those super cheap grocery bags like
they do
back in the day. And they're still charging 10 cents for them.
Oh, are they? No, it's supposed to be free.
Yeah, Food for Less just gave theirs away.
Oh, them sons of bitches. I want my 20 cents back.
Yeah. Yeah, because the thing is that it's supposed to be free because they don't want you bringing in any other bags into the store, you know?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to like chance any germs, so they're supposed to give it to you for free as like a courtesy, but I don't know.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah.
I'm also doing well. You guys kind of went on a little tangent there. We're just gonna wait it out. No, I mean it makes sense on one hand because you bring your stuff in and everyone's all worried and shit. But on the other hand, it gives them an excuse to charge fucking 10 cents and blah, blah, blah. But, I don't know. Like, how many bags do you guys use when you go grocery shopping?
Depends.
Give or take. Like 4 or 5?
The other day I used 7. It's usually between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Typically. Okay. Yeah, because I tell them just to use as many grocery bags as they can possibly use because a whole extra $1 added to my total doesn't bug me. So
yeah, exactly. But see, at least you guys are better about it because I actually have reusable bags in my trunk, and I put them in my trunk so I wouldn't forget to bring them. But I always forget, so I'll go and I'll pay the extra, whatever 10 cents for the bags, and then I go to my car and then I put my groceries into those bags because if I come home with those bags, then I get shit about it, and then I just have a bunch of reusable grocery store bags in my car. But it works out because for some reason the fish collects them, or he uses a lot of them, so Hoarder. I always end up just giving it to him.
Nice.
There you go.
So it works out.
Yeah, we're about the same as Dave. Like, it depends on how much we spend, of course, and how much we buy. But we'll probably try to keep it between 4 and 7. For me, the less amount of bags I have to carry in the house, the better. So, but
at least you don't have to walk upstairs. So.
Yeah, but I like to keep everything separate. Of course, I keep the meat with the meat, veggies with veggies, fruit with fruit.
Yeah,
or produce with all that shit, and then soft stuff together and all that. But yeah, we try to keep it between 4 and 7.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to separate, especially if you're getting anything with chemicals. You got to definitely separate those. And sometimes I have to remind the baggers to do that. I mean, look, I worked at Target for a month. I worked at Walmart for a couple of months, and they taught me all that. And I was just like, hey, it's chemicals. Don't mix it in with the food. Just get another bag. And I guess you get what you get. But when it comes to like taking the groceries in, I'm that guy that like grabs all of them. It's like I'd rather break my arm than make 2 trips. I'm that guy. I don't know if you guys are the same way.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So. But
I'm usually that way, but I cut my hand making dinner. So the other day, so I got this. Actually, no, it wasn't making dinner. I was cutting a bagel, and I sliced my hand open. So,
Jesus, how'd that happen?
Because I was an idiot and I was cutting it towards my hand because I wasn't fucking paying attention. So,
he was in a hurry to eat that bagel.
Yeah, it's okay. If you guys ever talk to Miss Lauren ever again, just ask her about the incident with the potato when we first met.
Oh my god!
So, it was the first time. It was the first time we actually hung out outside of work, and I went to her dad's house for Thanksgiving. I was helping him cook, and I was holding a potato like a baseball, and it just sliced right through my hand.
Oh,
I remember this story.
Yeah.
So
I remember.
Yeah, it's just like my 3 fingers just completely just.
Oh.
So.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I said that like, oh, you pulled a Tony Iommi because the same thing happened with his fingers, but it got caught in a press and he pulled out. So. Yeah. I remember that story.
Yeah.
Gross.
Very gross.
Gross.
But,
By the way, Bubs, you must have had another memory that was baseball because I too got a memory of yours that was baseball.
Oh.
They just keep on coming.
Yeah. They just keep I'm telling you, coming. Every single day, it's a new baseball thing on my Facebook memories.
Oh, I believe it, man.
Today was the 8th year anniversary of Jared Weaver's no-hitter.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I just saw a picture of a big A.
Yeah. I remember I invited a certain somebody to go to that game, and he said he didn't want to go to because he was so tired. That was you, Mr. Dabowski.
I thought that was Irvin Santana's.
No, it was Weaver.
Oh, was it Weaver?
Yeah, I was like, hey, do you want to go to the baseball game? And you're like, no. I'm like, all right. And you missed out.
Oh, yeah. I think I missed out on both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I wasn't at the Irvin Santana's either. So.
Yeah.
You know. It is what it is.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
So, well hot start here.
What are you drinking today, Dave?
Blue Moon iced coffee blonde.
Ooh, how's that?
Okay. Iced coffee blonde.
It tastes like Blue Moon with a little bit of coffee in it.
Oh, delicious.
Little buzz beer for you, huh?
Yeah.
I was looking. I wanted to buy some more of that Dunkin' beer that I had at whatever the last meetup that we had. I think it was AEW pay-per-view. I bought that Dunkin' beer. So, but obviously they only sell that at Total Wine, so I wasn't gonna find that anywhere. So.
Yeah, things are tough all over, man.
We bought they have this new sparkling water called Aha.
Uh-huh.
Every time I see the box, I go, Aha! But it's black cherry and coffee flavored.
Nice.
Good Lord.
So you get the coffee taste without the benefits.
Well, no, it's more of a cherry taste, and then it's got like a coffee back flavor to it.
Oh.
So it's whatever. It's kind of weird.
Cherry coffee is not good.
No.
I don't know why people think that's a good combination. I got from what was it, Winco. They have like the how everything's in bulk there. Like you buy just like seeds and whatnot and pasta and whatever. They have one where you can get your own coffee. Like how all the old grocery stores used to do it before they got lazy. So, and I think it was like dark cherry coffee. It was one of the grossest things I think I've ever drank. And I love cherry. Cherry's good. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, carbonated coffee does not taste good at all either. So.
Where the hell did you have carbonated coffee?
Well, it tastes like carbonated coffee because it's sparkling water.
Oh.
So I could only imagine that's what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Bubs. I knew what you were talking about.
Thank you, Crispy.
At
least somebody pays attention to me.
Well, my mind only lasts about 8 seconds. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Right.
So.
Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah. So yeah, what a hot start. We're 10 minutes in, and we've talked about groceries and other stuff. I don't know.
I got some pussy about to jump on my lap. Come on.
I know the intro wasn't necessarily hot, but it could be worse. It could be the ones watching it.
Yeah.
Hey, you clicked on the video. That's your problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
You chose to be here.
Don't blame us. You want to say hi, everybody? Look it. Say hi. Say hi, guys. Hi, buddies.
That cat is so sick of your shit.
You have no idea. Well, last couple days he's been kind of I should say the beginning of this week he's been very lethargic and just kind of like sleeping, not really doing much, no energy whatsoever. Well, I noticed he was itching. We both noticed he was itching the other day, and we put flea treatment on him on Wednesday, and then yesterday, man, he was up and ready to go. He was all over the place. Mm-hmm. So it was like got a brand new cat. He finally started eating again, and now he won't leave us alone. He slept on top of my head all last night. Shit. I still love you, Nick.
Yeah.
But
that's right. Not quite the pussy resting on your face you'd hope for, but hey, it is what it is. I guess.
Yeah. He's the type of cat that doesn't want attention, but then when you leave and come back after 5 minutes, he yells at you because he's mad that you left the room. So he's a jerk, but I love him.
One of our neighbors keeps their door open even when they leave the apartment. Like they have a screen door that locks.
Yeah.
But they'll leave for the day, whatever they're doing, and for the next couple hours, you'll just hear this meowing coming out of their apartment.
Oh, really?
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it's it starts singing weirdly. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a new cat that's been showing up in the backyard. He's an all-white cat. I call him Whitey Ford.
Nice.
And
Whitey Ford. Oh my god.
He jumps in our backyard, and then you'll just hear. And you're like, he's back. He's actually a really nice cat. I think he was an indoor cat that got out because he lets you pet him, and he's just kind of cool.
Yep.
He's in the backyard jumping around, is he?
Yeah, he goes back there and he tries to scare off all the other cats, but they don't take his shit.
They're like, this is our house. If you don't like it, you get the fuck out.
Yeah. It's a cat compound. little
if I brought Daisy over, they would run.
Yeah.
So. They're running for their lives.
All right. Anything else going on?
Personally, no. Just sitting around. My wife's dancing for me right now, so she's wanting attention just like the cat. Love you, babe. Boy, say hi.
Hey, if you play your cards right, maybe she'll sleep on your head tonight.
Maybe. Crispy said if I play my cards right, maybe you'll sleep on my head tonight. She says,
Wait, was that like maybe or
maybe.
like no?
Like maybe.
Oh, maybe. Well, hey, man, you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them.
That's right.
I do want to say this. Just a quick shout out to you, Dave. Your recommendation last week, I started watching The Last Dance, and I got to say, it is one great sports documentary, man. Yeah. It is absolutely fantastic. I've seen so many good ones, and oddly enough, they're all through ESPN. There's been a few outside of ESPN, but this one is just fucking fantastic. I'm watching it through Spectrum, and they have the uncut episodes, but they're not releasing them until tomorrow for some reason. So I had to watch the first 4 edited. Really? And the first one wasn't too bad, but then
once you get to the second, don't you have a Watch ESPN account? If you have Spectrum?
No.
You should. You
No.
should
Well-
you should be able to access all the on-demand stuff on ESPN.com.
They're on
Well,
ESPN Plus.
No, they're not.
No, the unedited version or the uncensored versions?
Yep, they're on the because I had to because I was using your guys' account to watch them.
Oh, okay.
And then I signed up for ESPN Plus because I was watching just like all the other 30 for 30s. And when I tried, and somehow I got logged out of the Spectrum account, and because it was on my Xbox, and then I went onto my phone, and yeah, I couldn't watch any of the stuff on ESPN Plus. So, like any of the Last Dance stuff, like if you just go to the what's wrong, Daisy?
Dog's asking for attention now.
Yeah.
See, we got.
Well,
All that.
let me just say, for me, like it doesn't bother me that much, because I'm gonna end up watching them again anyways. Like they're really good. I'll just rewatch it unedited. It doesn't really get crazy until you get to like the third episode with like Rodman, where it's like basically just F words galore. But the point is like it's a fantastic documentary. My only complaint with it is that I know from having read the articles that Jordan had a lot of control over it, and it doesn't affect it too much. But I like it when documentaries are just like natural and they give all the information, because it's just like, a lot of it's factual, but it's just, I'm sure there's some stuff that Jordan didn't want to address or he cut out, and maybe it would have been interesting to see. I don't know, but when someone says, "Hey, I get the last say of everything," it kind of takes away the, again, the natural,
the integrity of the product.
The integrity. Thank you. That's the word. The integrity. Again, it's still a fantastic documentary. It's really good. I love how they bounce back and forth. I love how so far each episode has given a little bio on everybody. You got Jordan in episode 1. You got Pippen in 2. Dennis Rodman in 3, a little bit of Phil in 4. So it's just really, really well done. And again, Dave, shout out to you for recommending it. I mean, I do love a good, especially 90s basketball era documentary. 30 for 30 did a lot of great ones. So again, that's a good one. And I think they're going to release the next episode tomorrow. Today's
the next two episodes.
The next 2 episodes. So today being the 2nd of May, Saturday, US. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. And like I said, they flow really good. It's really well done.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of interesting. Like this finally like completes that time period as far as like all the big teams, because if you watch,
are you guys there?
What the hell is? Okay. Can you hear Crispy?
No, Crispy, you keep breaking up.
I think it froze a little bit on my end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm having issues on my end.
Why don't you exit the call then join it again? Maybe.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to watching any of the episodes of The Last Dance. I want to, I just haven't. So I've been trying to play some video games, and I finished reading a Michael Waltrip book. I'm gonna start up a new book maybe either later tonight or early tomorrow, and all that good stuff.
What I was saying before all the interruptions was, like 30 for 30, they've done documentaries on all the other like big teams around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like from like the 80s to the 90s, like they've done the Lakers and Celtics.
Yeah.
And then the the Bad Boys that did that documentary.
Yeah.
And then
I'm sorry about that, guys. My internet kind of cut out on me, and it was fucking everything on this end.
Okay.
But so like with this documentary, because they really haven't done a Bulls documentary as far as I know, right?
No, they've never done one.
No. So, like, it is kind of like completes the picture for all like the big teams from that era, from like the 80s and 90s era. Now all you really need is a Lakers three-peat, and they can continue the.
Well, eventually, what they'll do is, I mean, they're going to do a Kobe documentary. It's already been filmed. I don't know if it's an ESPN thing, but
okay.
they were gonna. From what I heard, it was they followed Kobe. They chronicled his final season, and then they were going to release it way down the road when Kobe got older. But now that he's passed, the filmmakers, they don't even know if they want to release it, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you would want. I'm sure obviously you want Kobe to be able to commentate on it, and you're able to see him as he's older. But you could also do it now with his family and with teammates and with people who are actually in his circle. They can speak for him because the only people that could really speak for you are the people who know you the best.
Yeah.
So I think they could totally make it up that way, but that's just my opinion.
Hey, can you guys see me and hear me? I was having some technical issues on my end.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi cut out, and I was trying to switch it, and I turned my my camera off, but I think I left the mic on, so I don't know if you were catching anything on my end here. But I do apologize if that happened. But I don't know if you guys heard the last thing I said, but I was just like, yeah, it's a great documentary. I kind of got back in when you were talking about the supposed Kobe documentary that they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a documentary shot, like I was telling Dave and Mike, about Kobe's last season, but after Kobe died, the filmmakers pretty much said that they don't want to release it now. But
hopefully they change their mind now.
They'll change their mind eventually. Something will happen. They'll get the blessing of the family, or they'll work something out with whoever they shot it with, and they'll probably have something shot or something done. And if not, I mean, they can do another Last Dance type documentary without Kobe. I mean, ESPN can shoot it independently. I mean, you still have Shaq around. There's still Phil Jackson, Derek Fisher. A lot of the key components.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of archived footage of Kobe talking about that era of the Lakers.
Oh yeah.
But
there's also too. There's a lot of awesome documentaries that were made about a subject that had passed. Before they did the documentary. I know a great one that comes to mind is Richard Pryor's Amid the Logic. And when you have a story as epic as Kobe's, you have plenty of people that are more than happy to tell that story. And I think it's actually really cool when you have a story told by the people that were there, because you have, certain, what's the word I'm looking for here? A certain view, perceptions, opinions, and I think that with this, if the family does, okay, and say, yeah, you can use the footage, it's fine. Filmmakers, are deciding whether or not they want to do it. I think that they should. I think that it's definitely. I mean, even again, Kobe being alive, it's still going to be the subject of a great documentary. I don't know what exactly is keeping it from coming to light, but I'm sure that sooner or later everything will come together and it's going to be an epic masterpiece. And it's going to tell a great story. And, like I said, in terms of motivation, I mean, Kobe was just as big in his motivation and his work ethic as he was on the court. So I definitely think it deserves to be shown.
Totally.
Well, it'll eventually come out. You have to give the family time to grieve.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
Eventually they'll probably okay it because you can't really like cancel a legacy like that. You can't really not talk about something that big.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, unless there was a lot of controversy, which luckily there isn't. So,
well,
there you go.
There is, but
those Lakers teams were just riddled with controversy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you had the whole Kobe Shaq feud, and there was a lot of shit that went down that people talk about, but they don't allude to how serious it actually got.
Yeah.
So I mean, they talk about it on AM radio in Southern California all the time. So, and it's
No,
just,
I meant like if he had an ending like Chris Benoit where he killed his family or something.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
what.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, there was a lot of controversy with Kobe, especially with the trials and everything, and there's negative stuff there. But I'm just saying that that itself, is not enough to just say, hey, let's stop talking about Kobe. Don't mention his name, this and that. It's not a black mark, in basketball or in sports, unlike Chris Benoit, where a lot of people refuse to acknowledge and talk about it and whatnot. That's what I was saying. So,
okay.
Well, shit, they're still making O.J. Simpson documentaries. So
Yeah, they are. So
yeah, well,
the
juice
they should talk about that
loose.
Yeah, as if we haven't heard every aspect of that story told a million times over the last 25 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But I admit, man, I'm a sucker for a new documentary. So
Yeah. What really surprises me about ESPN is, and it's probably because of network contracts and everything, but they haven't done a lot of baseball documentaries. I don't remember any baseball 30 for 30s off the top of my head, or
the Daryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden one.
Yeah, that one. But there's so many that you can do, and they just haven't touched upon it. Like, one thing I would like to see, if they do any other sports, any documentary series like they do this, I would like to see something about like the Yankees run from 96 to 2001.
Yeah.
So, or even past 2001, because I mean, they went on the downswing there for a while too.
Like the Joe Torre era.
Yeah,
Yankees.
especially after the Angels beat them in 2002.
Yeah.
I mean, they were supposed to beat the Angels, and they were supposed to go to the World Series and win it, and they didn't. So, but that would be cool. There's not really much you could do with hockey, because there's not a lot of controversy around hockey. I mean, really, the only story that you could maybe do is the Red Wings dynasty in the late 90s, but that's not mirrored in too much controversy.
Yeah.
There's some behind it, but not a lot. But
with hockey, it's more about like individual stories.
Yeah.
Like, you could do a documentary on like Joe Thornton.
Yeah.
And his like lack of being able to win a cup and whatnot.
I mean, I think a good 30 for 30 could have been the Red Wings Avalanche rivalry.
Yeah.
Because there was a good 3-4 years there where there was a blood feud and they wanted to kill each other basically.
Yeah. I think SB Nation, they did like a 15-20 minute video about the Red Wings and Avalanche rivalry. Yeah. So it was pretty good. Yeah.
But it would be nice to see like a whole series, but hockey players aren't very long-winded in their storytelling. They just like to get it done and over with, and they're like, we didn't like them, then we beat them up, and that's it. So,
and that's that.
You could probably do one on Jeremy Roenick and all the concussions, and then that can lead into the concussions and all the injuries. But really quick though, for baseball buffs, I like to see a Cubs one. I mean, them winning the World Series was a huge fucking deal. So I think that'd be a great story to tell too. The long road or something.
Yeah, I mean the only Cubs documentary that ESPN ever did was Raising Hell, or Catching Hell.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good one too.
Well, this would be an even sweeter one because, as you journey down the Cubs story, that's obviously a big event, but ultimately it does have a happy ending. So I think that'd be an interesting one to do. I
know MLB Films and MLB Network, they've already kind of done that. I can't remember the name of it, but it's actually done pretty well. I think Vince Vaughn narrates it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's like an hour and a half long, but it's about that season, the 2016 season.
Yeah.
So
I think the film is called "It's About Goddamn Time."
It's honestly something like that. I mean, because what I like about it is it not only focuses on the team, it focuses on fans too. So they interview a lot of fans about like what it means to be a Cubs fan and what it meant to win the World Series and what that season meant to them.
I think what you could do, because I know HBO, they did their Cubs documentary. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
What's it called? Wait Till Next Year?
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, next year. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I would do because they did that with the Red Sox, because they did the Red Sox one and then they added to it after they won the World Series. So just take that documentary from I want to say it was like 08 or something like that, maybe 06, and just add like a second like the second like part 2 to it and re-release it. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna check to see what the name of that Cubs documentary is real quick.
Yeah, but I did watch the Doc Good and Daryl Strawberry 30 for 30. That one was pretty good. So, and you guys
they got a lot of they got a lot of great ones, man. I mean, King's Ransom is a good one. What is it? Jordan Rides the Bus is a good one.
That's another baseball one.
Yeah, well, the best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, it's funny because, I mean, if 30 for 30 is going to do one about, Fernando Mania in the early 80s with the Dodgers, I mean, you can do a documentary in baseball about, you can do one about the mascots. It'd fucking be great, So.
They also did 4 Days in October.
Which was
about, talking about the Red Sox coming back. Yeah, coming back to over the Yankees. So
that's right. Yeah, but
the Yankees,
the Junkies. Yeah, but continuing on the sports topic, NASCAR announced that they're coming back on May 17th.
Yeah, man, I saw that on your post, man.
Yeah, they're gonna actually run races. No fans in attendance, of course, but
better than nothing.
Yeah, they're doing this crazy schedule. They're doing 9 races in I think a 13-day span.
Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're running 2 cup races on Sunday the 17th, and then the following Wednesday at Darlington, and then the next Sunday they're going to run a Sunday and Wednesday race at Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then there's like a few other like small like Xfinity ARCA Truck Series races going on in that time frame too. So
that has to be expensive for the drivers.
And
their teams.
Well, I mean, Darlington and Charlotte, they're pretty close in proximity.
Yeah. And I'm just saying that
most teams they run out of North Carolina, so it's not going to hurt them too bad. Yeah. The ones I'm more concerned about is the smaller teams that don't have a lot of funding.
Yeah.
So they're going to be kind of hung out to dry if they can't afford to run 2 cars in a week.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, a lot of these racing teams, they already have multiple cars that they run for each racetrack. So, like Team Penske and Joe Gibbs, Roush Fenway, Hendrick, they're all set. It's just these smaller teams it's going to suck for.
You're going to see a bunch of little rickety practice cars out there.
Yeah, I mean, it might have to, but I mean, it's the first like real big events, I should say, since this outbreak and the reopening of the country or whatever they're calling it. But I think it's cool. I'm excited, and it's going to be nice to have like live new sports on TV.
Something,
as awesome as it has been watching these classic games. Like I just watched all the 2002 Angels playoff game, so that was fun to relive. And I watched, I think, the 89 ALCS yesterday with the Blue Jays and the Athletics, which was cool. And it's been nice, but it's going to be cool actually having live sports back again. So
in some form at least.
Hockey, it's been rumored that they're going to start opening training camps up on May 15th, so they can do small group activities and start kicking in the high gear at the beginning of June, so they can get the Stanley Cup playoffs and the finals done and over with.
Yeah, so they're pretty much saying that the regular season is over and done with. They're not going to be able to attempt to play a few more games.
I think they're going to play a few more, like maybe a week of regular season games,
just to get like all the other teams that are behind,
right? A chance, like those playoff contenders, a chance. Either that, or they'll just extend out the playoff format, which is whatever. But it gives everybody a chance.
Yeah.
But basketball's talking about coming back. They're talking about shacking everybody down in Florida at Disney World, and finishing out the regular season and the playoffs down there. And then they're talking about extending the summer break and starting the season in December.
Okay.
And then baseball, there's been a radical thing going around that they want to get started late June. And there's been talks about 3 super divisions. And still getting the season done in October, late October, early November. So basically, there's going to be no American League, no National League. They're just going to break up the teams West, Central, and East, and they'll all just kind of play each other.
Okay.
I thought they were talking about doing it, separating it via just like having the teams play at their spring training sites.
Yeah, that's what's been talked about. They were gonna either run out of Arizona or run out of Florida.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna move like the American League or they'll probably move like one section of those, or probably put the American League divisions into Arizona. National League goes down to Florida because that's kind of how they do it anyway.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of hoping to see like the Cactus League versus the Grapefruit League World Series. Yeah. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
I think that'd be fun, but
yeah,
just as long as it's getting some kind of a product back on the field. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's going on in the world of sports right now.
Yep.
That's good. That's a nice light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that some things are starting to get the wheels turning.
Yeah.
Of course, our stupid governor, he said that we're going to start school in late July, early August. Well, guess what, stupid? My district already starts in early August, so
nothing's changing.
So,
business as usual.
Yeah. Our school starts back up August 11th, so it's like
not much change.
Yeah, no change for us, dummy.
Yeah.
So, but anywho, we do have a topic today.
Yes, we do.
So, do we want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Unless we have anything else to talk about.
Anybody else have any? Crispy, Mike, Dave?
No, let's get into it, man, because I just got hit with some tiredness. So.
Okay. Sorry, I'm so boring.
Yeah, I do want to apologize if you watch this back. You catch me yawning and all this shit. It isn't that I was bored with what you were saying. It's just that it just hit me all of a sudden. So sorry.
Yeah, you're bored. All right. So a couple weeks ago, I came up with a topic that we all each pick one movie, and then we all have to recast all the movies that we picked. But we can only recast it in the time that the movie was made, or if it's a modern day reboot. Okay. So everybody has got their list, everybody has got their casts, and everybody's done all the movies, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Since it was your idea, you could go first.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll go by my movie first, and then we'll switch to either Dave, Mike, or Crispy, and then they'll do their movies, and then everybody will talk and so forth. We'll go like that. All right, so I chose the movie Bull Durham. So classic baseball movie. It's one of those movies that doesn't need to be rebooted, but doesn't need to be recasted as well. I mean, it's perfect as it is. I just thought it'd be kind of fun because like people were like, it doesn't need to be recast, but
like fantasy booking.
It's basically fantasy booking, exactly. So
an alternate universe if the movie never existed and they made it.
Yeah,
that's how I saw it.
Basically, yeah. So, I don't know. Did I send you guys 4 or 5 characters to recap?
5.
5.
3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I got 5, and then I added a bonus character for me. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the 5 characters I'm recasting are Crash Davis, which is done by Kevin Costner, Nuke LaLoosh, Tim Robbins, Annie Savoy, Susan Sarandon, Larry, which is done by Robert Wool, and Skip. I'm blanking on his name right now, but the head coach. Yeah. So to start it off, we're going to go with the main character of our movie. We're going to start with Crash Davis, of course, done by Kevin Costner. Well, Kevin Costner is a great baseball guy. My one complaint about Bull Durham is that Crash Davis is supposed to be this kind of old, grizzled vet, and he's been in the minor leagues back and forth for a long time, but yet him and Tim Robbins are only like 4 years apart in age.
That was one of the points I was going to bring up about my casting.
So So my first fantasy casting, I was thinking of someone who is grizzled, who has that old baseball player type look, and he has done a baseball movie today. He has done a baseball movie before. And I'm going with Tom Selleck.
Okay.
Because
now, to specify, you're recasting it as if it was 1980,
88,
whatever.
88, yeah.
88, yeah.
So, Tom Selleck, he has that old grizzled look. He looks like an old baseball player. The thing with Tom Selleck is he's always looked like he was 50 years old, no matter what year you look back.
Yeah.
And he's a big baseball fan too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And then for my next character, Nuke Lelouch. Young, hotshot guy. My other complaint about Bull Durham is I do not like Tim Robbins' throwing style. He has never thrown a baseball in his life. He's never played baseball, and that's always bugged me. So I wanted to find someone who actually knew how to throw a baseball. And I'm recasting Nuke Lelouch, and I think if they actually recasted this guy instead of Tim Robbins, it would have been a little bit of a better movie just because of his delivery. But I'm recasting Nuke Lelouch with Charlie Sheen.
Fucking that's one, dude. We talked about this before we went on. I'm gonna go ahead and just call it as I see it. Bubs, I too have also cast Ebby Calvin Nuke Lelouch with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie Sheen, you really think about it, like I said earlier with Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins, they're only a couple years apart. Tom Selleck and Charlie Sheen are about, I think, 10 years apart. Yeah. So that really gives me more of a old grizzled vet and young gun. And at the time, Charlie Sheen was a youngster. He was like in his early 20s. This is only a year removed. This is a year before Major League came out too. So, and then also, if you don't know about Charlie Sheen, he actually played minor league baseball before becoming an actor. Yeah. So he actually knows how to throw a baseball. He knows how to pitch. He was a pitcher. That's why.
That's why his performance in Major League, why they actually showed like his full windup and everything.
Yeah.
As opposed to Tim Robbins, where they just kind of looked at just his upper body and that's it.
Yeah.
They never showed him throw a baseball in frame.
What's funny about Charlie Sheen in Major League is that his windup is perfect, his delivery is perfect, his character's perfect. Don't get me wrong, but the way that they made him look like he's throwing 100 miles an hour is they actually moved the mound up 10 feet. So it would make his fastball look like it was going 95 to 100 miles an hour rather than the 75 to 80 that he was actually throwing, which is still good for an actor. So
I think it's interesting that Charlie Sheen was such a youngster in Major League, but when Major League 2 comes around, he looks like he's aged 15 years.
Yeah.
Because all the drugs and shit he was on.
Yeah, he's all bloated.
Yeah.
So.
That's fame for you.
All right, so my recasting for Annie Savoy, of course, played by the great Susan Sarandon. Great actress. You have to have a special niche to play that character. You have to kind of go outside the box. You have to have a certain look about you too. I think that's what helps about that character, rather than putting your stereotypical Playboy cover model looking blonde out there. They went a little bit exotic, more non-traditional. So I tried to go the same way with this route too, thinking back, from 85 to 90. And there was only one person that could really fit that bill for me, and that was Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
I think she's got the acting chops. I think she could really pull that character off. I mean, she's got a range of characters that she's done, and you could really kind of pull a little bit of Dana from Ghostbusters and kind of play off of that a little bit, but just kind of amp it up.
It'd be a similar look too, if you think about it. If you're going with Sigourney Weaver off of Ghostbusters, very, very similar. That's a very interesting pick, man. I got to say.
Yeah. And then for Larry, we all know Robert Wool. He's kind of quippy. He's very kind of sarcastic, and
he's delightful.
He's just kind of a space cadet when it comes to just the way he really all of his characters. Robert Wool doesn't act; he just plays himself. in movies.
Yeah, true. That's very true.
Yeah, he's likable. That's actually the reason why his character wasn't killed in Batman, because he was so beloved by the cast and the crew. They're like, we can't kill this guy off. We gotta let him live, because he is who he is. He doesn't really act. He's just being himself. So I absolutely agree.
And I was trying to find someone that style as well, and the only one that I can really pick that's that type of comedic actor and is kind of a smart ass, but that's just someone that is very likable, was Dan Aykroyd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see.
Yeah.
But my issue with that is that it's such a small part, and Dan Aykroyd, because this was this was way after Ghostbusters, like 4 years, right?
3 years, 4 years after Ghostbusters.
It's also roughly around the Great Outdoors era, too.
Yeah. But it's kind of like one of those roles that, like in modern movies, that you wouldn't expect anyone to pick, like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
It's something like that. Like my next pick is also like one of those things where this actor is at the peak of his popularity. But I just think Dan Aykroyd, just the way that he speaks to people, he's very sarcastic. He's got almost a dry, self-deprecating type of humor, which is something I've always loved about him. And he's also kind of a smartass too, and you need that if you're going to play the role of Larry, which, Robert Wool played tremendously, but I think Dan Aykroyd could have filled those shoes in perfectly.
Yeah.
So, and then
I'd buy it.
Yeah. Then last but not least, for the role of Skip, like I said, I don't have the guy's name on hand. I had it written down on my phone, but I deleted it. Weird thing about him is he actually died a year after the movie was released.
Wow.
And he wasn't that old. He was only like 50. But for comedic purposes and just for the lollygagging scene is the reason why I'm casting this one actor, because I think it would just be absolutely fucking hilarious to see. And I would cast Danny DeVito.
Oh, man.
That'd be great.
That's funny.
Yeah. Just think of that shower scene, but little ass Danny DeVito doing the lollygagging scene. And that's the only reason why I would recast him as Skip.
God damn, dude.
He would work. I mean, because they're kind of built the same way and they kind of have that same attitude.
Yeah. And you gotta think too, like, think of every baseball manager you've ever seen in Major League Baseball. Baseball managers don't look like baseball players.
No.
Danny DeVito does not look like a baseball player at all. Not one bit about Danny DeVito. And I think he would just fill that role perfectly. So that's all I got.
Nice.
That's good, man. Good stuff.
All right.
So, Dave, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm doing a modern recast of the movie. This movie was actually kind of hard to do because the way I looked at it, I just kind of inserted guys that are sort of similar to actors that were in the movie, but that also have really good range. I think the thing with Kevin Costner is that Kevin Costner just plays Kevin Costner in every movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, try to find the difference between Ray Kinsella, Crash Davis, and what's his name For the Love of the Game?
I can't remember.
Billy something. But it's pretty much the same character in all three films.
Yeah.
Which is not bad because Costner's very charming and everything. So, for my Crash Davis, I picked Jake Gyllenhaal. Kind of similar. I think he can. He's had those times where he could kind of be. I think he has pretty good range. Just the only reason I picked him.
He's also very dedicated to the roles that he plays.
Yeah.
And he'll actually go out. What do you call those type of actors? Method actor. He's a method actor. He'll actually go out of his way to learn how to catch and learn the game of baseball and everything too.
Yeah. And another reason I put him in here is if they were going to film it as in 20 or 2021 or whatever, is that he's about 40 years old.
Yeah.
And that again, I had the same criticism of that because like Crash Davis, he says that he's been in the minor leagues for 12 years.
Yeah.
But he's only 3 years older than Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that goes into my next thing. Tim Robbins, he's 30 years old. There's no way he's a rookie minor leaguer. You know?
He's not Brendan Donnelly.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna sign a $1 million arm, that's 30 years old to a minor league contract. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
So for my Nuke LaLoosh, I'm picking John Boyega.
Oh.
I think he would just based off his performance in Star Wars, he could kind of play goofy a little bit, which is what's kind of the charming thing about Nuke. Mm-hmm. Both charming and annoying.
Yeah, he's kind of a
he could. Another reason is he's like 28 years old, but he could also play younger because he doesn't really look that old.
No,
so he could. What's up?
Black don't crack.
Yeah, like he can. I could buy him as like a 23-year-old, college, ace,
Right.
So for my Annie Savoy, I picked Olivia Wilde just because I really like Olivia Wilde.
No, that's a good choice.
Yeah, and very similar to. She's not as good of an actor as Susan Sarandon, but she's still pretty good, and I think she could kind of add that that Southern draw that Anna Savoy has. Like I think she could probably pull that off pretty well. For my Larry character, I'm picking Seth Rogen. Just because he knows nothing about baseball, which I think would be kind of interesting to see what he could do in that type of role. But he's also kind of goofy like Robert Wool,
Either crispy screen is frozen up or he fell asleep on us.
I think he froze. Yeah, I think he froze.
Crispy.
Hello.
I need to donate my internet booster to him.
I'm having technical issues. Bear with me.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Dave.
All right. I don't know. I just think he would kind of work in that area, and he's about the same age as Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
So like him playing against, Crash at one point in their career.
Yeah.
I think it would work. On top of that, he kind of got that frumpy look to him. Like, yeah, you could tell this guy just spent his entire career in the minor leagues.
Drinking beer and eating hot dogs.
Yeah, pretty much. And then for Skip, I picked J.O. Sanders. Now, if you're asking who J.O. Sanders is, he's Ranch Wilder.
Okay.
He's he's a character actor, so I think for the Skip, role, I think he would be brilliant in that role.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But I was thinking like Ed O'Neill, but I'm like, Ed O'Neill is way too old. So.
Yeah.
And J.O. Sanders is about 60 years old, So he's only about 10 years older than the original guy, but
Well, even Skip, I think the guy who played Skip when they shot Bull Durham, he was only 48.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, perfect age for that role. So.
Yeah. But also, I just if he brought a little bit of that like Ranch Wilder into him, I think it'd be kind of funny.
That'd be kind
of funny. Then, did you hear any of my castings, Crispy?
Yeah, I think. Well, who'd you do after you did? No, I think I got them all. Yeah, because I heard you with your Annie Savoy, and then you did. Did you do Larry or Skip first? I
did Larry first. Larry was Seth Rogen.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that one.
And then Skip is J.O. Sanders, Ranch Wilder, for the Angels in the outfield.
Less is more.
And then I'm going to put this in the Brockmeyer universe, and Hank Brockmeyer is going to be the commentator.
Yeah. I thought about
fucking outstanding.
I thought about recasting an announcer as well. Yeah. I didn't want to go Bob Uecker just because he's so iconic in Major League. I wanted to stick to, and that character didn't really have any humor. It was just a baseball announcer. Yeah. But if I could recast the announcer, I would do Keith Jackson.
Yeah. That'll work.
He's still got that southern drawl, and Yeah, they kind of sound very similar, but I think Heath Jackson would sound a little bit more convincing.
Plus, I don't think Euchre would have been able to get out of the way of that wild first pitch.
No.
Yeah, that's my cast. So.
All right, Mike, do you want to
go? Okay. I mean, just in advance, I did all mine as like reboots.
Okay.
And I didn't have a lot of time to kind of like do super a lot of thinking, so I just kind of did off the cusp casting here. So.
All right.
Okay. So for Crash, I know it kind of sounds like a typical cast, but I really think on that kind of like older. He's kind of like the older role. I think he kind of has the chops. Brad Pitt, I thought probably would have been like a nice kind of casting for that. He's got. I mean, I know he kind of has a hit and miss for a lot of things, but I think as of like recently, and as if we were to kind of film it now, he kind of has that kind of well-rounded, you know, kind of about him now. So and he is a little older. I'm sorry.
He did a good job as Billy Bean. So
yeah,
as well there too. Yeah. So I think he kind of has a like seriousness, but the kind of like comedic chops to him as well. He can do.
Yeah.
To bring it to that. So and then for Annie, I don't know. I was kind of feeling that Charlize Theron. You know, I thought that she kind of has like kind of a nice range to her too. I mean, she's not like she's a well-known actress, but she's not like super like kind of like everyday casting type of thing. You know, she kind of has like she can do like be very serious, but I have seen her where she can be very funny as well. You know, kind of just bring a full spectrum to it.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought that they would have kind of had a good casting. For Nuke, yeah, I don't think he's that much younger than Brad Pitt, but I always kind of thought that maybe him and Chris Evans would probably have like a good, kind of like a chemistry there, kind of bouncing off each other. So yeah, I put Chris Evans as a Nuke.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for
Skip,
I
could see Chris Evans more like Fantastic Four Chris Evans or other team.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah, not like kind of like Captain America, right. But like more like younger.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
I got you.
For Skip, probably I'm an actor. I think he has a great range too. An actor I always wanted to work with is Tom Lee Jones. So, I thought he would probably bring kind of a nice flavor to that,
Yeah.
And then for Larry,
Richard Tommy Lee Jones was also in 42, and he did a great job as I can't remember Dodgers owner. I can't remember his name, but yeah, I could see him in like a good role that a good example that I could see like Tommy Lee Jones playing Skip would be in Captain America: The First Avenger. Like that type of character. Yeah, I can see it.
Which is funny because I cast him in I didn't even think of that until afterwards, So.
Yeah. Crispy,
I think you're thinking Harrison Ford in 42.
Oh, is it?
Sure? That's right. Harrison Ford.
Okay,
okay. Is it? But Tommy Lee Jones, I mean, it's there, dude. Comedic chops. I mean, I know he's known for his more serious roles, but it's there. It's not as frequent, but it's there, and it's actually pretty good. I mean, I found myself laughing at Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, he could pull it off for sure.
Yeah, you're right. It was Harrison Ford as Branch Rickey. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
And then for Larry, I thought that another one of my favorite actors, Richard Jenkins. He's been in a lot of movies. Like his. I mean, like his name is not super familiar, but okay, I'm trying to think of like you remember in like Step Brothers.
He plays the dad in Step Brothers.
Yeah. There's been lots of things. So, but I thought he would have been really great as Larry. So.
All right, nice.
Kind of like that bounce off of that, yeah. So that would have been my modern day casting and reboot of Bull Durham.
Cool. Crispy?
So.
Yeah, really quick. The reason why I said that is because I just watched 42. So
okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Sick.
I swear Tommy Lee Jones was in a baseball movie recently. I guess I was wrong.
Well, I know that he played Ty Cobb in the Ty Cobb movie, but I don't know about recent.
They told him to stick it.
We couldn't stand the son of a bitch when he was alive. I chose to do it back in its original release, 87, 88. I always get confused which one. I think maybe they filmed in 87, was released in 88. Yeah. So right off the bat, Nuke, Lelouch, Charlie Sheen, me and Bubs were right on that. Again, I just feel it works. And, obviously with his history and his portrayal in Major League, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I think it's just a perfect role for him. For Crash Davis, I didn't take into consideration, the history, he's in the, he was in the minors for 12 years. I just try to find somebody that I thought would probably fill in pretty well. And I know that this guy has a little bit of history with the movie itself. I went with Kurt Russell playing Crash Davis. A lot of the deciding factors, not the main ones, but a lot of them were key scenes. And I just can really picture Kurt Russell giving Annie that I believe scene, that dialogue that he gives her in the beginning of the movie. I could just picture Kurt Russell doing that. And it really sells it for me. For Annie,
what's great about Kurt Russell is he's got a background in baseball.
Yeah,
he does. He actually
played baseball growing up. His father, he owned that minor league team up in Oregon. If you haven't watched The Battered Bastards of Baseball on Netflix, do so.
Yeah, and he also had a lot of input in actually writing the film. He worked with the guy that the story is loosely based off, and I want to say I think he was considered for the role before Costner said yes, and I'm not 100% sure that might be the case, but I don't know. It just coming off of Big Trouble in Little Chinatown, I think Kurt Russell for me would have been a great pick for that. For Annie, I wanted to pick an actress that I thought would play smart and sexy, and I kind of went with a lot of different names here, but I ended up going with Meryl Streep. I think it just might work.
Oh yeah,
for that role,
definitely.
We've come to find out later on in her career that she's very eclectic, and obviously she's won so many Oscars. So I don't think it would have been a stretch for her to play that role. For Skip, I don't know. I was kind of going back and forth, and for some reason, this actor just kind of popped into my head. Maybe in terms he kind of looks a little bit like Skip, but I went with Beau Bridges.
Beau Bridges, there you go. I like
would have probably done a good job. Obviously, for me, he's in The Wizard with Fred Savage, and I thought he did a really good job there. That came way after. Or not way after, but I think maybe a year or two after the fact. But and then for Larry, Bubs, I got to say, I was kind of in the same school of thought as you. Aykroyd had crossed my mind, but when I thought of Aykroyd, I thought of another guy that I thought would be fantastic. And again, that scene on the pitcher's mound with the candlesticks. I mean, if any other person can deliver it, I'd say probably Bill Murray would be the best call for that role.
Yeah.
I think when the way you described, kind of a smart ass, whatnot, I think Murray fits that description well. That would have been right before he did Scrooge, so I think it would have probably fit in pretty well there. So
nice.
Those are my picks for Durham.
Yeah, the only actress I considered to play Annie, the only other actress I considered to play Annie, and I changed my mind because she was so young at the time, was Michelle Pfeiffer. Like if she happened to be a couple of years older at the time, I would have cast her, but she was still in her early 20s, I think. So I thought she was just too young to play the Annie Savoy character. But I love Crispy's picks. I loved the Kurt Russell pick. I think Kurt Russell would have made an excellent Crash Davis.
For Annie, I was kind of thinking, but it just didn't sell me on the sex appeal side. Was Goldie Hawn, but I just I wouldn't sold it, and I just thought Meryl Streep I thought would pull it off, but
and if you put Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell in the same movie, they're already a couple. So
yeah,
well, Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon had a 30-year marriage because of this movie.
Yeah.
So now, granted, they got divorced a few years back, but
way to kickstart the love line in alternate universe, Crispy.
Yeah, there you go. But interesting fact, though, that was of the movies that they worked in together. That was their favorite. Talking about Robbins and Sarandon was Bull Durham. So, fucking dude, fantastic film, Bubs. I can't say enough. Movie, what a great pick. I watched it last night, and I think it's one of those movies that you remember, but every time you watch it, you kind of almost forget how great it is. I don't know. It's weird. Like you always thought it was good, but then every time you watch it, you go, this is definitely up there with some of the best movies made about baseball for sure, especially comedies, which I think mainly a lot of them are.
I mean, when you think about authenticity, especially in Hollywood, this is the closest to authentic that you can get with baseball.
Oh yeah,
they nailed it. I mean, Major League is close, but not anywhere near as authentic as Bull Durham is. And I do like Major League more. To me, Bull Durham is more of a love story than it is a baseball movie, whereas in Major League is more of a baseball movie than a love story. So
I see it as a love story that plays baseball plays a big role, and it's, you know what it is. It's a lot of the little things in Bull Durham that actually make it fantastic, and I think that's all great sports movies. You know, the little things when they talk about it, you know, and the fact that, you know, Annie, of course, you know, if you guys know this, it's an old nickname for, you know, well, I don't know really the proper terminology to go here, but in wrestling they call them ring rats. So the groupies. There you go. Yeah. So Annie is a nickname for groupies. So it works out. It's just fucking great.
We used to call them pro hose at National.
Pro hose, there you go.
Yeah. So
pro. Yeah.
All right. Well,
pinch catchers.
Yeah. All right. So there are your 4 recastings for Bull Durham. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So I did. Mine was would it be a course again? You know, a reboot of the reboot, I guess. So for Child's Play. Okay. So let's say. So we had the role. So we had the role of Chucky, the mom, who her name is Karen, and of course Andy.
Of course, the mom's name is Karen.
Right, I know, right? Fucking typical.
I heard. Off topic real quick. I was watching. There's a YouTube channel called Rocked.
Yeah.
And the guy, he did it's a 20-minute video. It's 10 great songs by terrible bands.
Oh, okay.
I just watched that. I saw the opposite. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He was talking about the song "Drops of Jupiter" by Train.
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard this term before in my life, but I'm so excited the first time I get to use it when I hear this type of music. But they have like this slang word for the type of music that Train plays. It's called Karen core.
Oh my god!
And I cannot wait to use that one day. So sorry. Karen core.
Stuff.
All right, so
Rock.
So go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So let me start with the mom, obviously first. For the mom, I thought a good person to kind of like bring that energy, and she has a kind of a great kind of like versatile to her. Would be Emily Blunt. You know, I think she has that kind of like that look, and you know, of course, she's very you know, she's no stranger to the horror genre as it is of late. So, I thought she would have been really great. And then, of course, for the role of Andy, I picked an actor. His name is Jackson Robert Scott, and he was actually he was in like the reboot of It. He played Georgie. And he was also in this movie called The Prodigy, which is actually a really great horror movie in itself. But I picked him as the role of Andy. And then I was also kind of like doing this as if there was no kind of like reboot of It, and because I also thought that Bill Skarsgård, who also played Pennywise, he has a really great kind of like versatile to his voice. So I thought he would have kind of like brought like a really great like kind of something to the role of Chucky as well, you know. Kind of like taking a lot of those like elements, you know, that he can, you know, with his voice and his acting, you know. So I kind of felt like he would have been a really great Chucky. I mean, of course, nobody's gonna be Brad Dourif, you know, of course, but you know.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you gotta like throw it out there and try and make something, you know, I think he's a pretty damn good choice. So.
Nice.
Yeah. So those would be my casting and my choices. You know, that are gonna do another Chucky movie.
All right. Very cool. All right, so I'll go with mine.
Okay.
So for the role of Karen, I was just trying to think of someone that I could pull off a really good horror movie character.
Yeah.
And I picked Deborah Ann Woll.
Okay. Yeah.
She just has like that skittish type of look to her.
Yeah.
Like she's like doing investigation, so I think that would translate great to horror.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's ever done a horror movie. I didn't look at her IMDb or anything like that, but I don't know. She just has this presence about her that I think would translate great into a horror film. For Andy, I'm actually going a little bit different. I mean, it's a very familiar name, but I'm actually going to pick Millie Bobby Brown.
Okay.
From Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
She's kind of, because of Stranger Things, she's kind of in that horror icons section now, where she could do excellent things with horror movies. And I just think that her acting style and the way that she kind of gives herself to the role, and I mean the way that she, the way that she plays out on Stranger Things is just fantastic, and I think that would translate great to a Chucky movie. And to play Chucky, the only reason I'm picking this actor is because for some reason when I was younger, I thought he actually did Chucky's voice.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I'm picking Michael Keaton.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's not bad at all, dude.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
I don't know why. When I would watch Child's Play when I was a kid, I always thought Michael Keaton was Chucky, and of course he wasn't, but Keaton just has that creepiness about him sometimes. I mean, just kind of bring that Beetlejuice type charisma into a Chucky doll, I think would be fucking fantastic.
Plus, if you want to get nuts, you can get nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, good call. I'll go next, so that way I'm not the last one again. I think we can all take turns going last.
Yeah.
Let's see. For Karen, I don't know. There's a lot of names there, but I went with someone that I thought would be a really interesting pick. I think it can really pull it off. There's kind of I don't know, say maybe the bond between her and Andy, I think would work out really well. I'm going with Elizabeth Moss.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
If you guys are familiar with her, Handmaid's Tale, Mad Men, she's in the Invisible Man
she's
movie
awesome.
that they did.
Yeah.
So I think putting her in a horror element definitely is it's going to work fine. I don't know. I could totally picture her again going with elements of the original Child's Play. I could totally picture her being in that kind of role. For Andy, I don't know too many. Oh, obviously this is the reboot. I don't know too many like child actors, so I kind of did the same thing Bubs did. I kind of went to the Stranger Things realm because I know there's a lot of great child actors there, and I kind of went through the list, and I thought Noah Shop, I don't know his first name. He plays Will in Stranger Things.
Okay.
I thought that would probably work out between all the kids. I thought he did a really good job.
He's in Ghostbusters.
He kind of
no.
That's the one with the fancy name.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Finn.
So
Finn something.
Finn Wolfhard or some shit, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, looking, comparing, they're all great actors first and foremost, but I felt that, Noah probably would do a really good job playing Andy in the film. And then for Chucky, I was just trying to think of someone with a great voice. I mean, Brad Dourif is just so fucking iconic. It's just really hard. So just kind of racking my brain, and I was watching a movie and this actor was in it, and I just thought, I think this might work. I think he could kind of play, the kind of funny, but really more of the scary, serious. I'm going with Stephen Dorff. I just think right now he's older, and the voice there, I think would be really believable as Chucky. So it's just really hard because I couldn't think of anybody else. Like, this guy would be this. So I think Stephen Dorff is like the right balance because, obviously Chucky gets crazy, but then he also can be very funny and cynical and this and that. So, those are my picks for the Child's Play reboot.
Nice.
Sounds good, brother.
On to you, Dave.
All right. I cheated on my list because I just watched the movie this morning. Which I actually have to say I enjoyed it, even though it was pretty much just small soldiers with Chucky.
Yeah, kind of.
That's pretty much all it was, which is fine. It's still pretty funny. I'm cheating with mine. I'm keeping Karen and Andy as the same actor and actresses. I like Aubrey Plaza. I like her playing like a young mom. I thought it worked very well. Because she even says she had her son when she was like 16 or something like that in the film. So, and then Andy, I thought did a pretty good job. So I'm keeping. I think his name is Gabriel Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he did a good job, so I'm keeping that. The only role I'm recasting, I think Crispy froze up again.
Oh no.
So,
Yeah, he did.
the only role I'm recasting is Chucky, and I'm going to do it with Michael C. Hall.
Okay.
Okay.
I think what I liked about Chucky in the film was that he kind of didn't really change up his the delivery throughout the entire movie. He didn't get any more sinister. He kind of kept the same he was kind of kept the same the way he talked. He kept it the same. I think since it's like a learning AI, you could start him out that way, and I think Michael C. Hall could pull that off. And then as the film goes on and he's learning a lot more and taking a lot in, I think you could have him and Michael C. Hall does a really good sinister voice.
Yeah.
So
he could almost be like the Ultron of Chucky. He just gets smarter as he gets more knowledge.
Yeah. And it's a very interesting reboot. I was having trouble coming up with people. That's why I kept Karen and Andy in the same roles. But yeah, I still enjoyed the film. I hope if they do a sequel to it that they just go balls to the wall with it and just have Chucky take over the world like Skynet style.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen it yet. I just had to go off of clips I was able to watch on YouTube. So
yeah, if I couldn't watch it, I was just going to watch the kill count that Dead Meat did on it.
That's pretty much
Yeah, because they
show it in like a nutshell.
Yeah. So.
Damn.
There you go.
Crispy, are you still with us?
Yeah, I apologize. I'm having a lot of connection issues. I don't know why. I switched to a different. I'm off the main router now. It seems to be working pretty good. It's you guys. Your guys are coming across on my phone a little pixelated, but that's fine as long as I can hear you guys pretty clear and you guys can hear me and see me. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good, man. So, well, why don't you go next since you're having connection issues, so we don't lose you.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea actually. So, my film was RoboCop, the reboot, and again, I apologize for not explaining it properly, but I wanted to do the reboot as if they were using characters from the original, so same characters, new story. I know it was a little confusing, but I think everyone, pretty much, kind of figured it out and hopefully got some good names there. But so obviously it's 2014, starting off with RoboCop, aka Alex Murphy. I mean, this name right off the bat came to me. Even around that time, I was thinking if they had gotten this guy, I think it would have been even more epic. And for that role, I'm going with Carl Urban to play Alex Murphy in RoboCop. Cool. I mean, if you guys seen the Dread, I mean, it's just it's soul, dude.
Dread is the most underrated comic movie ever. Not Judge Dredd, not the shitty Sylvester Stallone one. Dread.
Okay, bear with me because I have to move really quick here because my brother's going to sleep. So just give me a few moments here.
No problem, man.
Damn it.
Frisbee's bouncing all over my screen.
The whole place.
Okay. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night, Nico. I think I left my mic. Let's see. Oh, shit.
I like how me and Dave are taking pictures of the screen.
All right.
I had to post on Instagram.
That's on it. All Instagrams?
On the Instagram.
All right, cool. I'm back. All right, so let's see. Carl Urban, and then for Ann Lewis, Kind of went back and forth with a lot of actresses, but ultimately I think Charlize Theron I think would play a really good Anne Lewis. Very very tough, comedic,
a different film,
comedic at times. I don't know. I just think it works.
Yeah.
This one, I really like this one for Clarence Boddicker. I know it's going to be very difficult to recast. I mean, I think Kurtwood Smith did an amazing job, but there is one guy that I think would do just as good, if not a better job, and then that would be Tobin Bell.
Yeah.
I think Tobin Bell as the maniacal Clarence Boddicker would fit perfectly. I mean, that voice is already iconic enough.
Mm-hmm.
You boys know how I feel about him and the other role that I would cast him in. So,
yeah.
And then for Dick Jones, now interesting enough is this actor is in the reboot. He plays a similar role, and I thought that was a well done job. And I'm going with Michael Keaton as Dick Jones. I think I originally considered Michael Keaton for the role of Clarence Boddicker, but I don't know. It's hard to beat Tobin Bell. So I just switched there. And then I know, Dave did kind of a bonus for Bull Durham. I did the same thing with RoboCop as in the old man. That I hands down would have to probably put Kurtwood Smith in that role because I want him to be part of the reboot. So obviously he's up in age at that point. So I would put Kirkwood as the old man.
Okay.
Nice.
So those are my rules for RoboCop.
Sick.
I like it.
All right, I'll go next.
Okay.
Or wait, I forgot how we're doing this. Who should go next?
It doesn't matter. That's fine.
Doesn't matter.
I just want to go last for swingers. So
okay. Oh, okay.
All right. All right. For RoboCop, I did Oscar Isaac, just because he's awesome, and at the time he was sort of unknown, like to an extent. Like he had a few roles, but he wasn't like a big name as he was like now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they could have put him in that role and wouldn't have had to spend too much money on him. For Anne Lewis, I put Kate Mara.
Kate Mara, okay.
Yeah.
I like Kate Mara. Cool.
Yeah, for Clarence, I put Steve Buscemi. Just because, I think I was trying to think of like an older guy. Kurtwood Smith looked old even back in the original days, during the original movie.
Yeah, true.
So I was saying, we'll put Steve Buscemi in there. He could pretty much just do anything he wants. So, and then for Dick Jones, I put Christopher Walken. Just at any point to get Christopher Walken in, I'll take it.
Yeah, like an excuse.
So, that's my cast.
Dude, it's good.
Nice. All right, I'll go. Okay. For RoboCop / Alex Murphy, I wanted to find someone who it's kind of like an old, rugged, kind of looks like he could have been like an ex, like vet or cop. So I went with Christopher Maloney.
Okay.
Dude, that's a good call.
So I don't know. I was like looking at the helmet without the visor on, and I'm like, dude, Christopher Maloney just has that face. I can totally fill that role.
Mm-hmm.
So, for Anne Lewis, I wanted to find like just a badass female character. And when I go to badass female characters, I go with I always go to my go-to, and I go with Mila Jovovich.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Clarence Boddicker, I wanted someone that could play just like an over-the-top character. I went with Paul Giamatti.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
So
I like that.
I don't know. I was like just thinking about the original RoboCop, and I'm like, that would be an interesting role to fill with Paul Giamatti. So of course this is a modern day reboot as well. So
yeah.
And for Dick Jones, I wanted to find like someone who's like a Wall Street dickhead type character. And the only character I could think of was Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh, okay.
Director Krennic from Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
He always.
That's actually really good. Yeah.
He always seems to play that type of character, so I think he would be able to fit perfectly in that.
Oh, dude, I think you actually nailed that role with that guy. Dude. I could totally see that.
Just like those fucking just stuck up asshole CEO types. I just think he would just be perfect.
And which actually works because he actually played that kind of character in the movie Ready Player One as well.
Oh yeah. Totally. So
there it is.
Yeah, well done, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. For mine, okay. So for I'm just gonna say, first off for Murphy, RoboCop, and for Clarence, I kind of did a I don't know, it was kind of a SOA kind of like reunion dream type of thing that I did. So of course for RoboCop, I put Charlie Hunnam. I thought he had some pretty cool stuff he can bring to it. You know, he's really kind of getting into the acting, or like the more of the acting stuff. You know. And then of course for Clarence, I put Ron Perlman. You know, because I mean, like I guess they had a really good like chemistry. You know, but they kind of like fed off of it. You know, especially like hating each other a lot at at points.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of put them
he
in.
Does play a good. He plays a good villain too. Yeah. So yeah.
And then for Lewis, I put Jennifer Lawrence. So I kind of like her. I think she has kind of like a funny but very kind of like badass kind of thing to her. You know. So I put Jennifer Lawrence in that role, and then for Jones, I put Malcolm McDowell. You know, of course, from Clockwork Orange fame, and of course, Rob Zombie, Halloween, all that stuff. So so that's what I put in there for my review.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right, well, we're going on to Dave for his movie.
All right, the last film. This has actually gone a lot quicker than I thought it would. So, I'm doing a modern reboot of Swingers, just to give a little background into my thought. It's going to focus a lot more on comedy.
Yeah.
Like we're actually going to show a scene in a of Mike doing stand-up comedy. Because I think that's what was kind of missing from
from the original
Swingers. Now,
yeah, because they talked about it a lot, but yeah.
Well, granted, at the time, that's kind of how comedy was, because that was kind of a bad time for stand-up, in my opinion. Yeah. That like mid to late '90s, wasn't
like
that
struggle
great.
Was like real,
So, but so I'm doing a modern reboot. We're going to focus a lot more on stand-up comedy, but also Mike isn't from New York anymore. He's from England. So.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, Mike is going to be played by Himesh Patel.
Okay.
I watched the movie yesterday, like the movie
Great
yesterday.
Film?
Yeah, it's the Beatles one.
Great film.
And he's the starring role in the film, and I thought he just did a fantastic job. And I think he would bring sort of that same energy that like if like it was in the original movie, but like that Jon Favreau did in the original film, but like he would bring a different dynamic, maybe a more depressive attitude in it. I think he could pull off a bit better. So that's not to say because I love Swingers. Swingers is like my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. So for Trent, I picked O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was trying to think of like cool young actors now, and he's like the only one that really stood out to me. But I think could kind of pull off a guy that's been in LA for a few years. Now, granted, he's probably originally from Chicago, is what we got with Vince Vaughn's version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we could all kind of assume that, but especially considering he's a Blackhawks fan, because Roenick, he's good.
That's right.
But I like O'Shea Jackson. He his role in it was that recent Seth Rogen film that came out a couple years back with Charlize Theron. I thought he did a fantastic job in it. So I forgot what the film is called, but
I know what you're talking about. It's the one where he's like president or something like that.
Yeah, he like Seth Rogen's trying to date or is like
what is it called? Damn it! I saw it too.
Like a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
Like O'Shea Jackson did a really good job in that film, and it was pretty funny. So I think he could pull off Trent really well.
Yeah, that's
and Straight Outta Compton was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Rob, since he's going to be Mike's like best friend he's also from England. He's going to be played by Freddie Highmore.
Mm-hmm.
uh, from Bates Motel.
Yeah.
He played
Oh
Norman
yeah.
Bates. He's also, I think, the Good Doctor. Is that what the
Yes,
show?
he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could pull that off. He's a really charming guy. Like, also, he'd bring a different dynamic than the original. I can't think of the guy that played Rob originally, but he's in a shit ton of stuff. But yeah. For Sue, I picked Ansel Elgort. He's Baby from Baby Driver.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't seen Baby Driver.
Oh man,
I
great.
It's on my
Yeah.
medieval scroll of movies that
Yeah, I
I've
know.
watched for the last 5
It's worth a
years.
watch for
I
sure.
haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
but I think he could kind of pull out. Sue is kind of unassuming, like with the exception of that one scene where he kind of gets, pulls the gat out, and
Yeah, he's yeah.
they have that scene, but he doesn't have to steal like the show like the other actors do, like Trent does and how Mike does, but I think he would fit perfectly in that because he also has that kind of, he has this like quiet charisma about him. I think he could pull it off. For Lorraine, I picked Zoe Kravitz.
Okay.
Oh.
Because I was trying to think of an actress that's around that age, around between like 25 and 30, like around that, and that could like kind of pull off. I think one thing that Heather Graham, right? She played Lorraine first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She's a very beautiful woman. Very, she's actually a pretty good actress too. So I was trying to think of somebody that could elevate it, and Zoe Kravitz, I think, is a fantastic actress. So I think she could pull that off. And then I have a bonus cast for Michelle because she's a frequent like theme throughout throughout Swingers, because that's the whole reason why Mike is depressed, is because he had, his girlfriend broke up with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be Lily James. She was also in Baby Driver, and she was also in Yesterday. So.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I think Dave just watched 2 movies yesterday, and he's like, I'll just pick people from these movies.
I'm gonna cast it.
I did watch Yesterday, and then when you came up with the idea, I'm like, oh, I'll pick Swingers, and I was like, oh yeah, I think he could pull that off. But yeah, that's my cast. So.
All right.
Okay.
And Mike.
All right. So from Dave, this is actually another really like challenging one too. Because again, like like all these films on here, Swingers is such an iconic movie with the cast and everything. So for Trent, I'm gonna start with him first of all. Like whether like we all agree on it or not, just only like one mind came to me. It was Bradley Cooper for that kind of role. Of course, besides Vince Vaughn, but I don't know. Like I was kind of like juggling with a lot of actors, but that's the only one that they kind of like really like stuck to me. So for Trent, and then for Mike, I picked JGL, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, for that role, because he kind of has a energy for the role, I thought, because he kind of like had kind of like similar kind of vibe to him in that movie 500 Days of Summer, where he's just kind of like there sulking over the girl, and he just can't get past it, you know what I'm saying? You're just kind of that like hopeless kind of guy. You're like, come on, man, kind of like snap out of it and shit,
Yeah, I was going to like Joseph Gordon-Levitt was near the top of my list, but
yeah.
I think his age kind of rolled it out because I was aiming for guys that were like between like
Younger?
25 and 30.
Oh, okay.
But another thing that bugs me is 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
And how creepy he was in that film. So
he did kind of go overboard, but but like I said, he kind of had the draft to kind of like bring it there, almost kind of like how Mike was in that movie. Not as creepy, of course, but
Yeah.
For Rob, I picked Paul Rudd. I think he's got a kind of a cool vibe for that role. And then for Sue, I picked I don't know, like for Sue, like James McAvoy actually popped out to me. Because he kind of has that like kind of that like vibe where he's Mr. kind of like cool guy, but he can be funny, but then he can kind of be very like unstable at the same time,
Yeah.
and just like really like play out that scene, where he pulls out the gat, he's like bitch, like all that kind of stuff, So, and then for Lorraine, I picked Jane Levy. She was I mean, probably like most know her from the remake of Evil Dead. She played the main role of Mia in there. So I don't know. Like I just think she kind of has, because she also kind of like very much just kind of like that like 50s style kind of like pin up in a lot of her like natural, like in her like real, her real life style, which kind of like reminded me of what like what Heather Graham was doing in that scene, back in the film. So I don't know. I just thought that she had a great pick for that role. So
she's also in Shameless.
Shameless as well, yeah. And then she also has I think she has her own show too right now. Something playlist. I forget what it's called, but I know that it's out right now on like Channel 4 or whatever. But yeah.
All right.
So.
All right, Crispy.
Yeah. So I did the from the original era, which I think was 96. I think is when it came out, and oh man, this was really tricky for me because I was trying to pick actors from that era, and then kind of a lot of names came up, and I was actually scrambling around. But with Mike, I don't know. I just, for that role, I went with Robert Downey Jr. I think that he could probably pull it off. I know that he wasn't doing much at the time. I think that was right before he started getting into a lot of trouble, and
he was on
appearing
drugs
more in
and
court,
drinking way too much during the time.
But I think that that aside, with his acting chops and the roles he was doing before, what a huge name he was in the 80s, I think he could have pulled off that role. Trent, it was a little tricky, but again, just thinking about actors that I think could pull off that role. I went with John Cusack. I was kind of thinking maybe him for Mike, but then when I switched him around, I felt that he would probably be a better Trent. Kind of that charming. I think John Cusack can play a charming kind of role like that. I mean, Vince Vaughn did a fucking phenomenal job, but I have just a good feeling about John on that one. For Rob, I went with Christian Slater. I could just, I don't know, that scene where he's talking to Mike and kind of laying things down and tell him how it is. I just, for some reason, I could just picture Christian Slater sitting in that chair where Rob Livingston was and just delivering those scenes. And
absolutely,
I don't know. I think we think Christian Slater, you probably think of a few things, but for me, it works. And at that time, I think it would have been perfect. For Sue, I don't know if you guys know the name, but I mean, definitely some of the roles. But I went with Frank Whaley.
I know Frank Whaley.
Remember,
from The Doors, he played Robbie.
Well, yeah, and then he's in Career Opportunities, and then also
he's in a lot of stuff.
Tied into the baseball conversation earlier. He was the young Archibald Graham in Field of Dreams. That's Frank Whaley.
That's right. Okay. He's also in Pulp Fiction too.
Yes, he's Brett or Brad, depending on how you look at it. But when the scene where they're playing the video games, I could just totally see Frank going off and doing all that shit.
That's true.
Lorraine, that time era, I mean, for me, there's one girl just banging, and it's Drew Barrymore. I think would have worked pretty well.
Definitely.
Or I wanted to work really bad because that's the era of Drew Barrymore that I dig the most. I will always say Drew Barrymore 95, 96 era is the hot one for me. So those are the roles that I picked for Swingers.
Okay.
Right, nice. For mine, I'm doing like a modern reboot. All of my actors are a little bit older, about early to mid 40s, but I just feel like the cast of characters, they could do a complete reimagining of it. And I actually picked a couple of guys that I think would do an excellent job writing and directing the film as well. So for my Mike character, I picked Jordan Peele.
Okay.
Because Jordan's got a good range of acting. He's got great comedic timing. I mean, he's a great comedic writer, actor. He's a great director as well. So I have a feeling that he could work on this movie. Okay. He can kind of play that innocent type role, that kind of lost role like Mikey's playing, or like Jon Favreau played. As far as Trent, I wanted to go someone that's like super cool, super suave, just like thinks very highly of himself, or a character that could think that he's very hot, that's very high on himself. And like Dave, I went overseas, and my Trent is English, and I'm going with Idris Elba.
Yes, there you go.
So real cool,
very suave, hell yeah.
Very suave, very charming. You know, kind of act as Mikey's hype man when he needs it.
Yeah.
And I just
and
think
he's real. He's got that real. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a real cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
For my Rob, same thinking as Dave. I needed to find someone who could be like the best friend that, came from the same place as him and is in town and could, and like Chris was saying, like be like that guy that could be in the chair talking to Mikey to pick him up and tell him how it really is. And I picked Keegan-Michael Key.
Okay.
Because we all know the chemistry between Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key. We know how well they play with each other, and I can just see him filling in that role perfectly. For Sue, Dave mentioned earlier, very unassuming, just kind of a dick. And I wanted to find someone who thinks he's tougher than he actually is. And I wanted to pick Kevin Hart.
There you go.
Because I was thinking of the Gat scene outside of the bar.
Exactly.
And the first thing that came to mind was the 40-year-old virgin.
That's right. Exactly. Oh my god. Oh
so
my god.
I'm like, that is like a total Sue moment right there.
That's fucking
so
awesome.
I think Kevin Hart would fit perfectly. And for my Lorraine, I had a little bit of trouble, but I was trying to find someone that wasn't like Mike's pinup like look, and trying to obviously with my cash you can see I'm going a different direction. But I picked Rosario Dawson.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Okay.
So because she's also the type of actress that's very charming and very cool and very the opposite of the way that Mike acts.
Absolutely,
so I felt that she would fit perfectly in that role.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And I would call my movie Swingers with an AZ at the
end. There you go.
That's what I was trying to figure out. It's like, well, where am I going to put, because it's called Swingers because it's during the swing revival of the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, that's why, like, if I were to do this, it would be like focus more on stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And you would go to like more comedy clubs and whatnot. And you'd see like, it'd be like funny people and swingers kind of together, like crash together. Like that's kind of what I was looking at. Not as depressing as Funny People, because that movie is just...
Funny People is like two different movies in one. It's like...
it was,
the funniest movie you'll ever see for like the first like 45 minutes, and then the back half is just completely depressing and sad.
Yeah, it turns to harlot,
I love that movie. I think it's underrated. I've been on an Adam Sandler kick lately, and it's one that I've been wanting to get around to watch, but I love that. I saw it in theaters. I thought it was fantastic.
I
still want to watch Uncut Gems, so I'm hoping that comes out on Netflix within like the next 6 months. So.
It's actually supposed to be on Netflix, I think, this month, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from what I read, yeah. Uh-huh.
I want to rent it on Amazon, but I don't want to spend the $8.
So. Well, yeah, I know, like, I think I said May. I want to say it's maybe May 3rd or the end of May. It's supposed to be on Netflix, so. Yeah.
Huh.
There you go.
Nice. Well, good.
That's our topic for the week.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
A lot of
surprisingly, this is the shortest CoronaCast we've done. So
really,
even though we're close to 10 p.m. So.
Well, we started later today.
Yeah.
So but, all right.
And then I had all those issues, and I had to move because everyone's asleep in my house now. So.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah, we'll have to try to hopefully Mike doesn't have to work until 7 again next week, so we can record around 6 or 7 again.
Yeah.
We have to come up with the topic. So
I came up with this one, so someone comes up with something.
Yeah.
So
I did the week before, so it's down to Mike and Dave.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
get brainstorming stuff.
Do you guys have any picks for the week? Anything you've watched recently or anything like that? Recommendations.
You guys were talking about The Last Dance earlier. ESPN E60, they just did a segment called Project 11, and it's about Redskins quarterback Alex Smith. Had basically a career-ending broken leg last year during the season, and it's the story of his recovery, and it's graphic. They show like just gnarly pictures of his leg, and it's very sad, but it's also very positive and uplifting, and it's very fun to watch. Or no, I shouldn't say fun to watch. It's very nice to watch, and you'll really invest your time. It's only about 30 minutes long, but it's a very good watch, a very quick watch. But like if you're turned off by gruesome injuries, I know you are, Dave.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna watch that.
You'll have to
I'm not
fight
gonna do
yourself.
it.
But it's a good story, and what I like. Well, I should say what I like about it, but it's interesting because I'm hoping that we get to hear more from the story since our cousin is now working for the Washington Redskins. So hopefully we'll get a little inside information. So
it's gonna be a podcast exclusive.
And then also a new snack came on the market. The bag's kind of torn, but it's called Cookie Pop.
Oh shit! Okay.
It's popcorn, and they infuse it with different types of snacks and stuff.
Oh,
We have
that's right up my alley.
We have Chips Ahoy, Oreo, but I know they have like Twix and a couple other different candy bars that they sell. We had to buy them online.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're in stores, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good little snack. And then my final Bubba's Best for the week, Kill Switch Engage. They released Atonement 2, B-sides for charity through Bandcamp.
Sweet.
So if you go on Bandcamp and you only have to donate $1, it's 6 tracks. And I don't know why these songs were B-sides. They are easily A-sides. They are fantastic. So all of the money's going to like COVID-19 relief and everything like that. Okay. So if you want to check that out, just go on Bandcamp and search up Killswitch Engage and donate your $1. I think they're going to release it to other platforms on May 8th. So if you don't want to download Bandcamp app, because you can't download it to your phone if you have an iPhone, you have to do it through the Bandcamp app.
I mean, you could always just download the files to your phone.
No, you can't. Not on iPhone.
Really?
Yeah, you can't do it.
That's stupid.
It's stupid, yeah. But yeah, they're excellent. So Atonement 2, Cookie Pop, and Project 11.
Sick.
Let's see. Trying to think, I had something in my head. Oh, I tried the WWE ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah.
They taste nothing.
I see the disappointment in your face already.
They're okay. It's missing the chocolate back, I think. I think that's the main thing that bugs me. And that the cookie doesn't have that weird, sharp taste that the original one had.
So I might like it.
Yeah, so like it just tastes like a ice cream sandwich with vanilla cookies. That's it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my only pick. Or if so, you guys wanted to try that, you've been warned. So
nice.
You guys just missed it. Like I dropped my phone, like it fell out of my hand. So you guys are all looking away.
I saw it.
You caught it.
Yeah, it just like landed right on my chest. I really don't have anything to recommend. I mean, I've been watching a lot of like old school wrestling, like from the 80s, and I got into NWA's show Power because I heard this interview with Billy Corgan through the Wrestling Observer, and it was really, really well done. I mean, I don't think people really know what a big fan he is and how much he's involved. It's not just like some like, oh, I have money, I'll do it. I kind of like it. Like he's a fucking really big fanatic and he's super smart. And he actually worked in TNA for years before he did the whole president's role. If you guys remember that whole, thing that they were doing, and he talked about the lawsuit. But anyways, so he's doing Power, which is on YouTube, and it's a throwback to the old, NWA World Championship Wrestling, Mid-Atlantic, Jim Crockett, where they're in the studio. They got guys like they got Nick Aldis is there, James Storm. So I know it came out like a year ago, give or take. I'm just slowly catching up, like every episode, as often as I can. And what's really cool is that, like the opening track is like a Dawkins song. It's Into the Fire, and it's so fucking 80s. I don't know. I think it's worth a watch. I don't know, I've just kind of been on that kick lately, with the network, just watching old school videos, just the kind of, the golden era of the 80s. So, I mean, I definitely would recommend it, but other than that, I don't have anything to recommend, but I will concur with Dave's pick last week. If you haven't watched The Last Dance, watch it. Go ahead and watch it uncut because Michael gets real in some of those episodes and he's talking a lot of shit, which, if you're a basketball fan of the 90s, was always the case. He's one of the biggest trash talkers. I think he was even more than Gary Payton was, who's a well-known trash talker. But It's really exciting, and it's cool like to have to wait for the episodes, because they're really thorough in that era. It's the last year, the 98 season, 97, 98, when they were, the last time that they were all really together. So again, I'm going to go ahead and go back from last week and re-recommend that as well. You need to watch it. It's fucking good.
Nice.
Sick. Me, I don't have anything to recommend. Just something that I saw the other day that I thought was really cool. Maybe kind of on my alien kick again. There's a documentary that just came out called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and it's pretty much this guy. He's he kind of talks about how he does this like kind of like meditation, spiritual type of thing, like that, and I guess like through that he's able to like make contact with like supposed ETs or whatever. So it's just kind of like about that, and like kind of like the different kind of like cover-ups, have to do with aliens and type of stuff. But so I mean, if you're like a big alien fan, then that's right up your alley. So
nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was nice talking to you boys again. So we'll get back together next week.
That's right.
So
if we have a topic.
Yeah, that I think it's your turn to come up with a topic, Dave, because Mike came up with one, I came up with one,
Oh, okay.
and I think Crispy came up with one. So it's your turn to come up with a topic.
All right.
All right.
Which actually, speaking of which, after we did the Slipknot show, I did find on my phone a lot of ads for articles about the top 10 Slipknot songs.
Oh my god!
And our picks are all over those lists. So I think we really nailed it, because I saw a lot of the songs that we picked. I was like, you know what, we were on to something there. So just want to throw that out there. Really interesting. But yeah, so I think it's on you, Dandy.
I'll think of something.
All right.
I'm trying to look back in our old conversation, just to see if. Well, Crispy, you suggested Metallica albums.
Yes.
We'll think about it, and then I think Dave. Let's see. Then Dave.
Well, we haven't done food in a while.
Yeah, Dave picked Slipknot or Pantera, so that was.
Yeah, I could I just picked up like the alley-oop.
Okay.
Crispy kind of lobbed it up there, and I put it
All
in
right,
the basket.
I'm leaving it up to you two, Crispy and Dave. It's your turn. So.
All right.
All right.
All right, we'll figure something out.
All right, for sure. All right, well, thank you guys for watching and or listening to this episode of the F.A.T Podcast, CoronaCast Volume 4.
Oh.
As always, we're your hosts. I'm Bubs.
I'm Debo.
I'm Mad Mike.
I'm Crispy. God damn it.
Yeah.
I
was a bit quicker there, though.
We've got to pretend that we're sitting at the table.
I know. I'm trying to circulate it around there.
It goes me, Dave, Mad Mike, Crispy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We saved the best class on this one. So
it's like 2 cars at a 4-way stop.
I know.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching and listening, and keep on jiggling, you fat fucks.
Yeah. Peace.
Later.
All right. Later.